Hello, everyone, and welcome to another great lesson here at English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we've got an upper intermediate level lesson for you all.
That's right. We're going to talk a little bit about business, and specifically, we are in a business meeting where we're trying to sell something to someone.
That's right. So you're going to hear a lot of talk about chocolate, or in this case, gourmet bonbons.
Gourmet bonbons.
Bonbons is another word for chocolate candies or candies.
Okay, so a bonbon is kind of like round usually, right?
Usually, yes.
Okay.
All right, so let's get started and listen to today's dialogue. We'll be back in a moment.
I'm glad you could find time to meet with me, Mr. Johnson. I can't think of a nicer environment for our meeting today. The ambience here is lovely.
No problem. If possible, I always combine business with pleasure. Now let's hear more about these chocolates you're offering.
Well, as you know, I have recently become the sole distributor for Granger's Gourmet Bonbons here in the United States. They're a new manufacturer and are looking to break into the luxury market. Naturally, your restaurant sprang into my mind immediately. I think your brand exemplifies many of the same traits as Granger's, and serving these chocolates would really add to your reputation for providing elegant, luxurious, first-class dining.
Sounds interesting. Gourmet chocolates. Where are they produced? Belgium?
Actually, the factory is located in Scotland.
Really? I didn't think they were known for their luxury chocolate production.
That's what makes this such a fantastic opportunity. The government is 100% supportive of creating new export markets and has guaranteed a low tariff for all wholesale orders of over 1,000 units. They've also reduced the red tape involved at customs as well. Here, I brought these especially for you. Try one.
Oh, thanks. Creamy texture. Very smooth.
Unique, aren't they? I bet you've never tasted anything like it. Quality is assured as I personally visit the factory to make sure no one's cutting corners with the ingredients. Only the crème de la crème make it through inspection.
Yes, very interesting flavors. Slightly spicy. Very unique, that's for sure. Exactly what are the ingredients?
I have it on highest authority that this traditional secret recipe has been handed down in the Granger family for generations. I'm sure you can keep a secret. Buttermilk, cacao beans, sugar, and haggis.
Haggis. What's haggis?
It's a traditional Scottish delicacy. You take sheep's liver, heart, and lung and stuff it inside the sheep's stomach.
I'll get back to you.
Mr. Johnson? Mr. Johnson! Alright, we're back. So, a lot of interesting vocab there. The guy was trying to convince him about these chocolates, but it turned out to be something a little bit strange, and we'll talk about that in a little while. Before we get into that, why don't we take a look at 7 key words that we have prepared for you today on Language Takeaway.
Language takeaway.
Okay, so we've divided language takeaway into 2 parts today. The first part is all about business and manufacturing. So what's our first word, Marco?
All right, so the guy talked about being the sole distributor for this company called Granger's Gourmet Bonbons.
Okay, a distributor. Okay, this is a person or a company, and the distributor is someone who distributes or sells a product, right?
Right, so the factory will make them. He will get all these goods from the factory, and then he will be the one that gives it to the different retail stores. So he can have many clients, and he is the main person who you get it from. So obviously they don't get it directly from the factory.
Okay, so this person, a distributor or a company, is in the middle of the transaction. On one side there is the manufacturer, and on the other side there is the retail market or stores.
Exactly. And as you said, that's our second key word today, manufacturer.
Okay, manufacturer, again, is a person or company that makes a good. So, for example, a television manufacturer makes TVs. It's like a factory.
Exactly. So they manufacture things, they make them.
All right. So we've got distributors who are moving goods. We have manufacturers who are making them. But what happens when we want to move a good out of a country?
Okay, so that is our third word for today. Usually in customs, we have to pay a tariff for these goods, or a tax.
Okay, so a tariff is a special kind of tax that you pay when you are trying to export or send outside of your country goods that you've made in that country. So, for example, if I make 100 TVs in America, but I want to sell these TVs to someone in Mexico, I have to pay a tariff. I have to pay like $10 to the government.
That's right.
That allows me to send these out of the country.
That's right. So that is a tariff. And now when he was talking about tariffs and how the government is reducing the tariffs in order to motivate business, he talked about also that the government is reducing or cutting the red tape.
Okay, so he says, listen, they've also reduced the red tape involved at customs. So this means that before they were encountering some problems at customs, because customs, you know, there's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of taxes, there's a lot of information you have to provide. It's a hassle. It's a lot of work.
A lot of paperwork.
Right. So this kind of paperwork, bureaucracy, this is called red tape in English. For example, I would love to get a visa for my foreign husband, but there's a lot of red tape. There's a lot of work that we have to do.
There's a lot of bureaucratic processes that you have to do.
All right. So red tape, this means a lot of paperwork, a lot of work that you have to do.
Okay. So those are our key words that are related to business. Now let's move on to a couple of different adjectives. The first one, when he talked about chocolates, he said elegant. He said that something is elegant.
Okay, elegant. This is a great adjective. You're going to see this on a lot of luxury brand items. Elegance means something is elegant if it is classy, if it looks really good and rich, or you could say that dress is very elegant, that mink coat is very elegant.
Okay.
This is a positive thing.
So something that looks kind of expensive at times as well.
Yeah, that's right. Another word that means looking expensive or elegant is luxurious.
Okay, so luxurious comes from the noun luxury.
That's right. Luxury, luxurious. So we can say that the executive suites at this hotel are very luxurious. They have a jacuzzi, a king-size bed, expensive silk sheets. All right, the best quality materials.
So you can say that elegant and luxurious kind of go hand in hand.
That's right. Although elegant you usually say about someone or their clothing, or even a car, but luxurious is more like
Object.
a place or an object.
Okay. Good. And then we have one final word that also describes something that is very rare or very good and rich, a delicacy.
Yeah, actually, this one is a noun. It's a thing. So we can say that this is a Scottish delicacy, or what are the delicacies in your country? So delicacy is something that's special.
Okay.
So, for example, you've told me that in Ecuador there are some interesting food delicacies.
Delicacies?
Little animals.
Yeah, for example, guinea pigs. Well, they're not really a delicacy, although kind of, because guinea pigs are expensive comparatively to chickens, for example. So it is considered to be something that you only eat on special occasions.
Right. And in East Asia, many people consider shark's fin soup to be a delicacy.
Right.
It's a special dish.
So we can say that it's usually about food, and it's rare, something that's rare or special, or also can be very expensive.
That's right, a delicacy.
Okay, so a lot of great, interesting words on language takeaway. Why don't we move on now to Fluency Builder?
Fluency Builder.
This first phrase is actually something I try to do as often as possible, but it's usually very difficult. I combine business with pleasure.
Right, to combine business with pleasure. Now, this is a whole phrase, and this talks about doing business, but at the same time, doing it in a fun way or an interesting way.
Right. So pleasure here means something that is fun or entertainment even. So, for example, going out to dinner with your company is a way to combine business with pleasure. Mm-hmm. All right. Or meeting a client at a bar is combining business with pleasure. So you're combining things that are fun and things that are work related.
Right, because you can have a business meeting in a boardroom or in a business or in a meeting room, but if you have the same business meeting at a bar where you're talking and laughing but also at the same time talking business, then you're combining business with pleasure.
That's right.
And now for our second phrase, it's more about cheating, right? Somebody that is cheating or maybe not doing things correctly, they are cutting corners.
That's right. So cutting corners is another way to say cheating. For example, I've seen students cutting corners with their studies. You think about cutting corners, it means that you're not going the long way. You're cutting, you're cheating by going the shorter way.
You're taking a shortcut.
So for example, instead of studying for that final test in math, some people write the formulas on their hands.
Right.
This is a way to cut corners. Instead of studying, you actually cheat by putting it on your hand, making it easier.
So to cut corners is to cheat or to try to take the shortcut, but it kind of has a negative connotation, right?
Oh, definitely. So most people will say, don't cut corners. In the end, it's not worth it.
Right. And for our final phrase, we have one that it's in French.
So this one is in French, but it's also a very common English phrase. That's why we're going to teach it to you. The crème de la crème.
Okay. So literally in translated from French, that means the cream of the cream.
Right. But in English, we would say that it's the best of the best.
The best of the
The
best.
very top.
So that's what this phrase means. The best of the best. The very top. The most excellent.
So you could say, Harvard University attracts the crème de la crème of American high school students.
Okay, so the very best of American high school students. All right, so that phrase, it's in French, but you can say it in English, right? Like
should.
fiancé, for example.
Fiancé, crème de la crème. These are all words that we've stolen from French and we use in English. So don't worry about how you pronounce it. In English, we just say crème de la crème.
Okay, so why don't we listen to this dialogue for the last time, and we'll be back in just a bit.
Hello and welcome to the English Podcast Zone. I'm so glad you're here because today we're diving into one of the most fascinating parts of business English, how to present a product in a way that makes people say, wow. Picture this. You've got a unique item in your hands, something luxurious and rare, and now you're in a meeting trying to convince someone to buy it. Sounds exciting, right? But it can also be tricky. That's why today's lesson is packed with real phrases and natural vocabulary that people actually use in high-stakes business conversations. Let's start by thinking about how important the setting is. In many professional environments, meetings don't always happen in cold, boring offices. They sometimes take place in cafes, restaurants, or even outdoor locations. Why? Because successful business people often try to combine business with pleasure. A great phrase that means doing work in an enjoyable setting. This can make the conversation more relaxed, which is especially useful when trying to build trust and present something new. Now, suppose you're introducing a premium product. It could be luxury skincare, artisan coffee, or, in our case today, gourmet chocolates. You don't just say, hey, buy this chocolate. No. You use persuasive, elegant language. Words like elegant, luxurious, and first class are golden in business presentations. These words appeal to people who value quality and are willing to pay for something special. Another important point is storytelling. Instead of just listing facts, tell a story about the product. Maybe it's made by a small family-run company in the Scottish Highlands. Maybe the recipe was handed down for generations. These details don't just inform, they create emotion and connection. People don't just buy products, they buy stories and experiences. Let's not forget about the crème de la crème, a French phrase that's become common in English. It literally means the cream of the cream, or simply the best of the best. If your product is truly top tier, say it. This phrase adds charm and sophistication to your pitch. And finally, know your buyer. If you're talking to a restaurant owner, you can say something like, serving this will enhance your reputation for providing top quality dining. Use their values and goals to support your argument. It's all about showing how your product benefits them, not just describing how great it is. So today we've learned how environment, language, storytelling, and customer focus all come together to make a successful product pitch. Stay with me. We're going deeper into this world of persuasive English, and there's so much more you can learn. When you're trying to make an impression in business, every detail matters, especially how you describe the people and companies you represent. Let's talk about a powerful way to frame your message by using comparison and alignment. If you say something like, your brand shares the same values as ours, you're not just giving a compliment, you're building a bridge of trust. This technique is essential when introducing a new product or company to someone who's never heard of it before. Imagine you're the sole distributor of a new luxury item, maybe handcrafted chocolates or designer stationery. Saying you're the sole distributor means you're the only one allowed to sell this item in a particular region. It sounds professional, exclusive, and trustworthy. This gives the product an extra sense of value. Use words like exclusive, premium, and high-end when you want to impress the person sitting across from you. It's also helpful to connect your product with positive traits. For instance, you can say this product exemplifies the same traits your business is known for: refinement, quality, and creativity. Notice the verb exemplify. It's not a basic word like shows or has. It's more elegant and precise, perfect for professional English. It's also a great verb to use when talking about brands, services, or even employees. But it's not just about being fancy. You also need to be specific. Use descriptive language that paints a picture. Say something like, these chocolates bring a creamy, smooth texture with flavors that are both classic and daring. Instead of just saying they taste good, you're giving the listener a vivid idea of what makes the product stand out. Let's not forget questions. In business, people often ask things like, where are they manufactured? Or who produces them? That's where another useful word comes in: manufacturer. This refers to the person or company that actually makes the product. You can say, these are produced by a small independent manufacturer known for their dedication to quality. Adding a detail about the location, like handcrafted in rural Scotland, adds charm and uniqueness. And if your product isn't from a place typically associated with luxury, turn that into a strength. You can say it's exactly what makes this such a rare opportunity. Luxury redefined from an unexpected place. It's all about confidence and language that turns doubts into interest. So whether you're selling chocolates, technology, or anything in between, remember, match your product with the customer's values, use specific and expressive vocabulary, and always present uniqueness as a strength. This kind of English doesn't just sound professional, it opens doors. Let's talk about how to highlight benefits in a business discussion, especially the kind of benefits that go beyond the product itself. When you're trying to sell something, it's not enough to talk about taste, look, or feel. You also need to show how it helps the buyer succeed. This is where practical, behind-the-scenes advantages come into play, and knowing how to talk about them in English gives you a real edge. One great way to make your product more appealing is by talking about government support. For example, you might say, this product benefits from a government-backed initiative that encourages international trade. Doesn't that sound trustworthy? If the government is involved in offering support, that adds credibility. In English business conversations, it's common to say phrases like government incentives, tax breaks, or supported by national export programs. These all help to make your offer sound more secure and valuable. Another strong phrase to know is low tariff. A tariff is a tax that countries charge on products being brought in or sent out. So if you say, our goods are available at a low tariff thanks to a recent trade agreement, it shows that your product is not just high quality, it's also smart and economical to buy. Business clients love saving money, and this kind of detail might just convince them to place an order. In addition to tariffs, another term that comes up often is red tape. This is an informal way to describe complicated paperwork, rules, and processes that slow down business. If your product avoids this, say so. For example, our export process has been streamlined with minimal red tape so you won't have to deal with delays or endless forms. This kind of sentence is very persuasive because it promises a smooth, easy experience. You might also want to emphasize wholesale opportunities. In English, wholesale means buying in large quantities at a discounted rate. You can say something like, we offer exclusive pricing on wholesale orders over 1,000 units. That sounds both generous and professional. This encourages the buyer to think big, not just a few samples, but a full business partnership. Now let's combine all of these ideas into one powerful sentence you could use. Thanks to government-backed export programs, low tariffs, and reduced red tape, you'll find our luxury items not only exceptional in quality, but also cost-effective and easy to stock. That's the kind of sentence that gets attention in real business meetings. Learning this kind of vocabulary and phrasing takes your English from good to impressive. It shows that you can handle complex ideas, speak confidently, and offer clear value. And that's exactly what successful business English is all about. Now let's turn our attention to something that can really make or break a deal: how you describe the product experience itself. When someone tastes, touches, or sees your product for the first time, their reaction matters. But the way you talk about it can shape how they feel, even before they try it. That's why your descriptive language needs to be vivid, appealing, and memorable. Let's imagine you're offering a premium chocolate. Instead of just saying it tastes good, bring the experience to life. Use phrases like creamy texture, smooth finish, bold layered flavors, or even slightly spicy undertone. These are the kinds of descriptions that capture the imagination. They're sensory. They give the listener a full picture of what to expect. You can also use contrast to make your product stand out. For example, unlike mass-produced chocolates, ours are handcrafted in small batches to guarantee consistency and quality. This not only sounds luxurious, it suggests care and attention, which many buyers value. Another important technique is using metaphors or comparisons. Phrases like melt-in-your-mouth quality or a dessert-worthy experience in a single bite are powerful because they create emotion. They make people want to try the product, and in English, emotional language is often more persuasive than technical details alone. Here's another key strategy: invite the listener to imagine themselves enjoying the product. You might say, picture your guests ending their meal with one of these indulgent bonbons, something they'll talk about long after the evening ends. This approach pulls the customer into a story. It's not just about the item anymore, it's about the experience that item brings. It's also useful to include vocabulary that subtly signals value. Words like artisanal, gourmet, limited edition, or chef-selected all suggest rarity and quality. Use them naturally in your descriptions. For example, each bonbon is made with chef-selected ingredients and follows a gourmet recipe that's been perfected over time. And if you want to emphasize uniqueness, say things like, "You've never tasted anything quite like this before," or "Our recipe offers a surprising twist on traditional flavors." This kind of language keeps the listener curious and engaged. Curiosity is your friend in sales conversations. In the end, strong product descriptions in English rely on three things: sensory language, emotional impact, and clear value. Mastering these will not only improve your speaking skills, but also your ability to persuade, connect, and succeed in real business situations. Sometimes what truly sets a product apart isn't just how it tastes or looks, it's the story behind it. In English, storytelling is a powerful tool in both marketing and conversation. When you share the background of a product in a way that feels authentic and intriguing, people pay attention. They don't just want to buy, they want to belong to the story. Let's say your product is a gourmet chocolate made from a recipe that's been passed down for generations. That phrase alone, passed down for generations, creates a feeling of tradition and care. Another excellent phrase is handed down through the family or a time-honored family secret. These expressions immediately signal trust, quality, and heritage. You can also emphasize your personal connection to the product. In a pitch, you might say, "I personally visit the factory to ensure every batch meets the highest standards." That sentence does two things. It proves your commitment, and it reassures your listener that quality control is taken seriously. A useful phrase to describe that is, "Quality is assured." And when talking about premium quality, another phrase that really elevates your language is, "Only the crème de la crème make it through." This French expression is commonly used in English to mean only the very best. It sounds sophisticated yet familiar, ideal for describing luxury products. To create a sense of uniqueness, you can describe the ingredients in a poetic way. Instead of saying sugar, milk, and chocolate, say something like, "Buttermilk blended with rich cacao beans, lightly sweetened and finished with a surprising twist." This kind of language sparks curiosity. It hints at something special without revealing everything at once. Now, here's something advanced but very powerful: balancing mystery with clarity. If your product includes a surprising or unfamiliar ingredient, such as a regional delicacy, don't avoid it. Use it. Say something like, our signature flavor includes a touch of a traditional Scottish delicacy, known only to those who appreciate bold cultural experiences. That sounds exciting, not strange. Also, remember how to talk about authenticity in English. Words like heritage, craftsmanship, authentic recipe, and carefully sourced all work beautifully to reinforce the value of your product's backstory. In real business English, this approach, blending tradition, personal connection, and descriptive storytelling, makes your message richer and more persuasive. It gives your words weight. And whether you're selling gourmet chocolate or something completely different, the power of story is always your strongest ally. In every business presentation, one thing you absolutely cannot ignore is the buyer's concerns. Even if you've described your product beautifully, even if your story is strong, people still want to know, is this safe? Is it trustworthy? Are there any hidden surprises? This is where your language needs to shift just a little, from persuasive to reassuring. And in English, there are some excellent phrases and strategies for doing just that. Let's start with the phrase, quality is assured. This is simple, strong, and effective. It tells the listener that high standards are in place. To go deeper, you can say something like, each item undergoes a thorough inspection process to ensure consistent quality from batch to batch. This kind of sentence not only builds trust, it sounds professional and prepared. Another valuable phrase is, no corners are cut. This idiom means nothing is skipped or rushed. It's the opposite of being careless. You might say, we don't cut corners with our ingredients. Only the finest materials are used in every recipe. The expression cutting corners is common in English, especially in business, and using it correctly shows your fluency and understanding of workplace culture. And if your product includes something unusual or unexpected, don't shy away from it. Instead, use clear and calm language to explain. For example, the unique flavor comes from a traditional Scottish ingredient, a delicacy that's celebrated in local culture for its bold and rich character. Notice how the word delicacy makes even something unfamiliar sound valuable and desirable. It's also wise to anticipate the listener's reaction and gently guide it. If you think they might be surprised by something, you can introduce it by saying, you might not expect this next detail, but I think you'll find it fascinating. This softens the surprise and invites curiosity instead of hesitation. Another helpful expression is, I have it on the highest authority, or this recipe has been certified and perfected over decades. These phrases give weight to your claims. They suggest that what you're offering is not just an experiment, it's reliable, tested, and respected. And remember, tone matters just as much as vocabulary. When you're talking about quality and trust, your voice should sound confident but calm. Avoid exaggerations. Instead of saying, it's the most amazing thing ever, try, we take pride in offering something truly special, backed by years of craftsmanship. In professional English, especially in sales or product presentations, the ability to calm worries while highlighting strengths is a true skill. You don't just describe a product, you stand behind it. You make the listener feel safe, valued, and respected. That's what earns loyalty, not just interest. One of the most effective ways to connect with an English-speaking audience in business is by creating a sense of exclusivity and sophistication. People are naturally drawn to things that feel rare, refined, and tailored. So when you're describing a high-end product, your language should reflect that tone, professional, polished, and rich in meaning. Let's begin with the word gourmet. This word instantly elevates any product, especially food. It implies expert preparation, top-quality ingredients, and a more luxurious experience. You can say, these are not just chocolates, they're gourmet creations crafted for refined palates. See how that sounds more special than simply saying fancy chocolates? Now combine that with the word luxurious. It's one of the most popular adjectives in English for describing products that offer a high level of comfort or indulgence. A sentence like, the luxurious mouthfeel of this bonbon lingers on the tongue, is not only descriptive, it's sensory, immersive, and persuasive. Here's another tip. Use expressions that suggest scarcity or limited access. These phrases help you position your product as something not everyone can have. For instance, we offer limited batches to ensure freshness and maintain artisanal quality, or only a select number of partners have access to this exclusive line. Words like limited, select, exclusive, and artisanal all give your product a premium aura. Also, in English business culture, name-dropping a location can add credibility and charm. Saying, produced in a small factory nestled in the Scottish Highlands, not only sets a scene, it subtly implies tradition, purity, and craft. Locations carry emotional weights. Scotland might not be famous for chocolate, but in this case, it becomes part of the uniqueness. You can say this unexpected origin is part of what makes it so memorable. To go further, bring in customer experience. Use phrases like adds value to your brand, enhances your customer's final impression, or elevates the entire dining experience. These aren't just phrases, they're tools to show that your product brings more than taste. It brings impact. And don't forget the power of strategic language. Instead of saying you'll like it, say, your clientele will associate your brand with sophistication and rare quality. This type of English is high level but very natural in premium sales or product presentations. To master this kind of language is to understand what truly persuades in a competitive market. Emotion, rarity, identity, and a promise of something beyond the ordinary. The words you choose become part of the product. When used right, they can be as irresistible as the item itself. In every high-level English business presentation, especially when introducing a premium product, your ability to guide the listener through visualization can be a game changer. You're not just explaining a product, you're painting a picture, creating an experience, and placing your audience right in the middle of it. This technique works beautifully when your product is meant to add value to someone else's brand, like a restaurant or boutique. Let's say your goal is to convince a high-end restaurant owner to offer your gourmet chocolates. You wouldn't just say, these will go well with dessert. Instead, create a scene. Try this. Imagine a guest finishing their meal, sipping espresso, and being offered one of these exquisite bonbons on a sleek porcelain tray. That's the kind of final touch that transforms a good dining experience into a memorable one. This kind of descriptive storytelling is not only elegant, it's effective. In English, using verbs like enhance and elevate, complement, and transform help create a sense of added value. For example, these chocolates don't just complement your dessert menu, they elevate the overall guest experience. These verbs are powerful. They suggest that your product isn't just a good choice, it's a smart investment. Another way to strengthen your pitch is to tie the product to reputation. In high-end markets, reputation is everything. A great phrase is, serving these chocolates aligns perfectly with your reputation for first-class, refined service. The word aligns is particularly useful when you want to show harmony between two brands or business values. Let's also look at adjectives that bring polish to your language. Words like refined and impeccable and prestigious and distinctive add a rich tone to your descriptions. You can say, their distinctive flavor profile leaves a lasting impression, perfectly suited for your prestigious dining environment. This sounds both professional and persuasive. Cultural awareness can also be a helpful tool. In many English-speaking cultures, there's a high value placed on originality and innovation. So highlighting the unexpected or surprising elements of your product can actually work in your favor. You might say, our recipe offers a subtle twist that delights even the most seasoned palates. This builds intrigue while still sounding elegant. Finally, don't be afraid to guide the buyer's imagination beyond the product itself. Talk about the mood, the impression, the memory that your offering creates. Phrases like a conversation starter, a signature touch, or a talking point among guests go beyond features. They promise experience and emotion. This type of English, immersive, graceful, and strategic, is exactly what you need to stand out in sophisticated business environments. It transforms language into a luxury in itself. As we explore more advanced business English, it's important to talk about how to handle objections or hesitation with professionalism and confidence. Even if your product is outstanding, buyers might pause, question, or even challenge you. That's perfectly normal. What matters is how you respond, with language that is calm, prepared, and persuasive. One key phrase to learn is, I understand your concern. This short sentence shows that you're listening, not pushing. You're acknowledging their point of view. For example, I understand your concern about introducing a lesser-known brand to your customers. That's exactly why we focused on pairing this product with strong, recognizable packaging and storytelling. This kind of reply shifts the energy from doubt to solution. Another excellent phrase is, "That's a great question." Even if the question is tough, this response gives you time and puts you in control. You might follow up with, "That's a great question. Let me walk you through how we guarantee consistency in every order." It's professional, respectful, and confident. Also, if someone questions an unusual ingredient or element, like a traditional delicacy you mentioned earlier, you can use a phrase like, "That's what makes this product stand out." Then add a cultural explanation such as, "It offers your guests a chance to taste something rooted in authentic Scottish tradition, and that uniqueness sparks curiosity and conversation." Words like authentic, heritage-based, and memorable all help frame the surprise as something valuable. When people hesitate over pricing, that's your moment to highlight long-term value. Try saying, "It's not just a product, it's a brand experience that enhances your guests' perception of your business." Or, "It's an investment in your reputation for offering exclusive, high-quality experiences." This language shifts the focus from cost to benefit. You can also address hesitation with success-based language. Our early partners have already seen positive feedback from customers. This chocolate has quickly become their signature touch. Phrases like early partners, positive feedback, and signature touch carry subtle persuasion. They suggest that others are already finding success with your product, and your listener could be next. And if a buyer starts to walk away or seems uninterested, don't panic. Instead, use graceful English that leaves the door open. Say something like, "If you'd like more time to think about it, I'd be happy to follow up with a tasting package and additional information." This keeps the conversation alive without pressure. In English business environments, being persuasive isn't about pushing. It's about presenting, responding, and offering clarity with confidence. Mastering these types of expressions not only helps you close deals, it builds your reputation as someone who communicates with poise and professionalism. Let's bring everything together by focusing on what truly leaves a lasting impression in business English: confidence, clarity, and class. After all the storytelling, the product descriptions, and the cultural explanations, there comes a quiet but powerful moment: the close. This is where your language needs to be firm yet friendly, persuasive but not pushy. A great way to begin closing a pitch is with a statement of belief. "I truly believe this product aligns perfectly with your brand's identity and the experience you're known for." This kind of sentence expresses both your conviction and your awareness of the listener's values. It's not just about making a sale, it's about building a partnership. You can follow that with a soft action step. Try saying, "I'd be happy to arrange a sample tasting at your convenience so you can experience the quality firsthand." This is professional and flexible. You're inviting them to take the next step without pressure. Another excellent tool is the use of value stacking, reminding the listener of all the benefits they'll receive. For example, with reduced tariffs, minimal red tape, direct access to a reliable manufacturer, and a distinctive gourmet product, this is more than just a great offer. It's a strategic opportunity. This technique brings together everything you've discussed in a clear, powerful way. You might also gently shift the conversation from if to when. Say something like, "Once you try it, I'm confident you'll see how effortlessly it complements the experience you already provide." This kind of phrasing assumes success without arrogance and encourages forward movement. And remember, gratitude is an essential part of polished English. While we avoid saying a full goodbye, we can still show appreciation. Try, "Thank you for considering a partnership that reflects quality, originality, and shared vision." This closing phrase leaves a positive emotional tone and reminds the listener that they're part of something meaningful. When you master this kind of high-level persuasive language, your English becomes more than just communication. It becomes influence. You're not simply offering a product, you're creating connection, trust, and value through every word. Thank you for being a part of the English Podcast Zone.
I'm glad you could find time to meet with me, Mr. Johnson. I can't think of a nicer environment for our meeting today. The ambience here is lovely.
No problem. If possible, I always combine business with pleasure. Now let's hear more about these chocolates you're offering.
Well, as you know, I have recently become the sole distributor for Granger's Gourmet Bonbons here in the United States. They're a new manufacturer and are looking to break into the luxury market. Naturally, your restaurant sprang into my mind immediately. I think your brand exemplifies many of the same traits as Granger's, and serving these chocolates would really add to your reputation for providing elegant, luxurious, first-class dining.
Sounds interesting. Gourmet chocolates. Where are they produced? Belgium?
Actually, the factory is located in Scotland.
Really? I didn't think they were known for their luxury chocolate production.
That's what makes this such a fantastic opportunity. The government is 100% supportive of creating new export markets and has guaranteed a low tariff for all wholesale orders of over 1,000 units. They've also reduced the red tape involved at customs as well. Here, I brought these especially for you. Try one.
Oh, thanks. Creamy texture. Very smooth.
Unique, aren't they? I bet you've never tasted anything like it. Quality is assured as I personally visit the factory to make sure no one's cutting corners with the ingredients. Only the crème de la crème make it through inspection.
Yes, very interesting flavors. Slightly spicy. Very unique, that's for sure. Exactly what are the ingredients?
I have it on highest authority that this traditional secret recipe has been handed down in the Granger family for generations. I'm sure you can keep a secret. Buttermilk, cacao beans, sugar, and haggis.
Haggis. What's haggis?
It's a traditional Scottish delicacy. You take sheep's liver, heart, and lung and stuff it inside the sheep's stomach.
I'll get back to you.
Mr. Johnson? Mr. Johnson! All right, we're back. So now this Scottish delicacy, what is this haggis?
Haggis.
Haggis.
Okay, haggis, I've never actually eaten it. It does sound pretty disgusting. It's a Scottish delicacy that I think involves stuffing, like what? What do we hear? Pig liver? Let's see this again. So basically, you take a sheep's liver, a heart, and a lung, and you put it inside the sheep's stomach. And you serve that. So it's
And you
kind
cook
of...
it. Yeah, you cook it like that.
You cook it. And so it's like all the insides of a sheep.
Yeah. It kind of sounds disgusting, but I'm pretty sure it tastes pretty good. Because it's a
probably
Scottish
tastes
delicacy,
good.
so...
Yeah, I don't know. Although I cannot imagine eating it in a chocolate. This is disgusting.
I've heard of countries where they take chicken, they stuff it with something, like they have a stuffing, and then they put the chicken inside a goat, and then the goat inside a bigger animal, and then they cook all that together.
Oh, wow.
And then you have you have this amazing, obviously it's huge. They use these big brick ovens to cook them. But you have this platter with like 3 different types of meats.
Oh, wow. We have that in America.
Really?
It's called a turducken.
Turducken.
Turkey, ducken, turkey, duck, and chicken. So you have a chicken inside of a duck, which you put inside of a turkey.
Turkey, wow.
And you bake it.
Wow.
Yeah.
How does it taste?
Delicious.
Ah,
It's a very
see?
special taste. Yeah.
Exactly.
So I'm curious to know what your national delicacy is. Do you have a delicacy in your home country? Let us know on EnglishPod.com. We're always curious to talk about food, but we would love to have you practicing on the website and asking any questions that you may have.
That's right. So we'll see everyone there.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word. The atmosphere of a place. Ambience. A person or business that sells to retail stores. Distributor. A company that makes goods. Manufacturer. Enter quickly. Break into. To appear or come into being quickly. Spring. Sets an example, a demonstration. Exemplify. A characteristic feature or quality. Trait. Place where goods are made. Factory. Famous for, easily recognized. No. A tax or amount of money to be paid. Tariff. The sale of goods in large quantities. Wholesale. Procedures required to gain bureaucratic approval. Red tape. To do something in the easiest or most inexpensive way. Cutting corners. To pass from one family member or generation to the other. Hand down. Made of sheep's viscera, minced with oatmeal and sweat. Haggis. To pack tightly, to cram inside. Stuff. Let's try that faster. The sale of goods in large quantities. Wholesale. Made of sheep's viscera, minced with oatmeal and sweat. Haggis. Famous for, easily recognized. No. Place where goods are made. Factory. Sets an example, a demonstration. Exemplify. Enter quickly. Break into. To pass from one family member or generation to the other. Hand down. A person or business that sells to retail stores. Distributor. A tax or amount of money to be paid. Tariff. To pack tightly, to cram inside. Stuff. To appear or come into being quickly. Spring. A company that makes goods. Manufacturer. To do something in the easiest or most inexpensive way. Cutting corners. Procedures required to gain bureaucratic approval. Red tape. A characteristic feature or quality. Trait. The atmosphere of a place. Ambience. Exemplify. 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 Wholesale. 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 Red tape. Red tape. Red tape. Cutting corners. Cutting corners. Cutting corners. Hand down. Hand down. Hand down.